So, if you're using Linux but are also into gaming, you've most likely run into the problem that some games do not work natively on Linux. Sure, there are solutions like Wine or Steam Proton, but some games do not even work with that. So, the obvious solution would be to dual boot with Windows. But at least I've run into a problem there, the updates. So I've spent 99% of my time on Linux, so I don't really have the time to boot Windows and install the updates. But if I want to play a game, these aren't installed and I have to wait. That's one of my main problems, well, has been, because I figured out a solution to that thanks to some posts. And turns out you can actually run an existing Windows inside a virtual machine on Linux. So what you want to do to make this possible is first you have to look at your partitions and where Windows lies. In my example, these are the partitions SDA2 to SDA5, which this being the recovery partition, this the boot partition, and this the root partition. So if you want to start this in a virtual machine, you first have to have a user which has access to the drive. You could put your user in the disks group, I think. But yeah, I'm just going the easier solution right now, which is just using my root account. Now, if you have access to a drive, you can create a raw VMDK, which is the file, which, yeah, basically makes up the VM. Yeah, what you have to do to create it is to use vbox manage, and you want to launch a command of the internal commands. The command you want to use is create raw vmdk. Yeah, now we have to specify a file name. Let's just call this tmp.vmdk, and we also have to specify the disk. In my case, this is def SDA. And there's also another thing you can specify, which are the partitions. The partitions. And your VM will have, it can see all of these, but you can restrict the write access to them, which you can do with this option here, partitions. In my case, I'm just gonna choose the Windows partitions like 2, 3, 4, and 5. So if you've done that, you have these two files created. You're only gonna use this one. So you have to do something else because it won't start. Well, let me show you. If I now want to create a virtual machine, it's called also temp with like 6 gigs of memory. Now we want to use our created file, which is in my username temp. You want to choose the complete VMDK, not the part 1. And now we can create a virtual machine, but if you're gonna run that, it will run into an error. Yeah, boot failure. So what you're gonna do, what you need to do is set the firmware to EFI. You can do that with vbox manage. You want to modify a VM. And now you have to enter your VM name. In my case, this is temp. And what you want to modify is the firmware. and you want to set it to UEFI. So if you launch the Windows again, it should now work. So let's try it out. I mean, this looks pretty promising. So, as you see, Windows is now launched. Yeah, what you have to do to fix this display issue, well, it isn't set to 1080p, is you have to install the guest editions. I think it's, well, somewhere here. Yeah, with that, this will insert a CD and you can install the editions from that. Yeah, but yeah, that's all you need to know to start an actual Windows. And yeah. Also, check out my friend. He's, well, I can't call him by his real name. Let's call him Brandy. And yeah, check his videos out. He makes cool videos about cars. And yeah, that's it for today.